Alright, YouTube, Stocks by the Numbers, welcome back. I know I'm coming to you late, but I actually hesitated purposely because I had a feeling that more news was going to develop. Now, of course, the company that we're talking about, United States Steel Corporation, ticker symbol X, listed here on the New York Stock Exchange. And if you recall, of course, I did multiple update videos on this, and it really breaks my heart that they didn't get more views and didn't get more traction because, as you see, this was probably the best of the best case scenario that we can see. We initially looked at the stock back here mid 2022. In my opinion, I said obviously steel is extremely relevant, it's extremely important, it's here to stay. We need steel and we need our US steel. And of course, I also mentioned, not to get political, but I did mention that in 2024, if we do happen to get another Trump presidency, US steel stock specifically was doing very well under President Trump. So that's why I stated here that these buyout bids, this was the right timing for these other companies to step in and try to place their bids to try to acquire US steel before we rolled into 2024. Because first of all, obviously, as you can see, with bids coming in initially at 35, I believe, and then multiple 40 plus bids, now Nippon Steel out of Japan has now put their hat into the ring and now said they want it for $55 a share. Again, initially brought to you on this channel, less than $20 a share. You are talking about north of a 150% increase, with less tax now being paid on the capital gain side. And basically, what this shows us is obviously, number one, what we initially knew, in my opinion, when we looked and said that the stock is tremendously undervalued in the numbers. And again, I did another update video here when that first bid came in to 35, because this was the initial wedge that I was looking at, and then they brought that down. And then I actually thought it was going to climb back up into that wedge there. But as you see, they kind of brought it down and had it kind of just hanging out at the low 30s before finally bringing it up to that $35 mark. And then as it was bouncing around that $35 mark, there were rumors swirling that more bids were coming in. And then that's when the news came in about last week that they had multiple $40+ bid offers. That's when I made the video, and I told you that chances are, even with the stock here at 38, 30, 37, 38, wherever it was that day, I basically said, in my opinion, in that update video, it was posted about a week ago when this news came out, I said that, in my opinion, multiple 40+ bids means at least 42, 43, 45, and I said, in my opinion, that even with the stock up here at the high 30s, it would still be, in my opinion, a very good idea to step in and buy shares, even if you haven't, because chances are you're immediately going to see a minimum of a 10-15% move from that point to $43, $44, $45. And then not only does the stock continue to climb slightly after I did that video, but of course the news comes out again. Nippon Steel out of Japan offering $55 a share, all cash deal for US steel. Now, what's interesting about this situation, they have it, that's about an enterprise value of about, I think it was 14.9 billion, right? Because after taking on the debt, I believe that they assumed they would take on the debt as well. So I think the total cost was going to be 14.9 billion, was going to come out to about $55 a share. However, now we're talking about potential national security issues, as both Democrats and Republicans blasted the move Monday, arguing that it could threaten both U.S. national security and good-paying union jobs in the United States. So, of course, no disrespect to Japan. Of course, I understand they are an ally, but it just makes me laugh that now, through capitalism, that a foreign company wants to buy an American company. Again, this is another situation of just one of these undervalued, under-the-radar stocks that were just beaten up over the years that, as we see, had tremendous value, not only from a market capitalization standpoint, but also from just a national standpoint as well, for a value of the nation. And now they're basically saying that, oh, now, obviously the steel isn't going to be made here, or, we're being acquired by a foreign company right now. And so now everyone and their brother is kind of pushing back on this on this acquisition here. Today's a critical piece of America's defense industrial base was auctioned off to foreigners for cash, said Senator Vance, Ohio Republican. But she criticized U.S. Steel's focus on the value of the deal for shareholders while ignoring its impact on our nation's security, industry, and workers. Okay, so obviously it makes me laugh because this has been going on for years. A lot of U.S. companies have been acquired by foreigners for cash, if we will, quote unquote. But of course, when it comes to steel manufacturing, and our good paying union jobs, all of a sudden now we have a national security threat and maybe we shouldn't do it. Now, this tells me a couple of things. And again, this is why I waited, because I heard that the deal came in, but then I also heard that, again, it was from Japan. And I even said to myself, I said, you know what? Give it a day or two, because I'm sure everyone and their brother's probably doing an update because they were late to the rally, right? Johnny come lately, like we always say. We knew about it below $20 a share. So these people getting in now, talking about the bump that they just saw in their position, 25% the last day or two. I mean, that's a joke. But more importantly, you got Senator John Fetterman here. I'm sorry, John Fetterwoman of Pennsylvania posted a video on X saying that the deal is wrong for workers and wrong for Pennsylvania, pledging that he'd do everything he can to block it. Okay, I'm not going down this road here of the whole politicized argument here, but I will say this. This tells me, in my opinion, many, many interesting things. First of all, we knew that 35 was a joke, right? And because someone finally stepped up and threw out the bid, I believe it was Cleveland Cliffs, because someone stepped in and finally threw out the bid, all of a sudden now everyone and their brother wants to throw their hat into the ring and wants to acquire the company as well, right? So what initially was a $35 bid that I'm sure a lot of shareholders may have even wanted to take in the short term, profit, at the end of the day, as they say, a company is only worth what another company is willing to pay for it. So the fact that the bid came in at 35 means that it could be acquired for 35, but chances are, in my opinion, it's worth more than 35. And then the bids came in. We had multiple bids in excess of $40, which tells me at minimum the stock is worth $44 to $45. But of course, when we initially looked at the numbers, even at that level of $43, $44, $45, I would still feel, in my opinion, that it was still undervalued in the numbers. And then what happens? We go from multiple 40 plus bids, which I don't think were ever released specifically what those bids were. But then all of a sudden we have the news coming from Japan saying we'll pay $55 a share. Now, that's why, in my opinion, I say that this is very, very interesting, because even if they end up rejecting the bid or blocking it for quote-unquote national security reasons, even if it comes back down here and fills the gap back here to about 39.60, chances are it has to maintain this level now. It has to maintain this level, in my opinion. Another like I said, we got into a multiple bidding war going from 35 to as high as 55. And supposedly, according to recent articles, it says that they accepted that bid. So that's why now it has to go through all the regulators and whatnot to see if the deal gets approved. And of course, that's why all of these senators now are coming out saying, oh no, this is not good for the country and we shouldn't do this, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So again, that tells us a few things. Obviously, that the stock this whole time was undervalued and it's worth at least like $55, probably, in my opinion, even more. And again, I still say that, not to go back down the politicized road, but I still say that 2024, 25, that new administration coming in, if it is another Trump presidency, will benefit U.S. Steel more than it will hurt it. So if this stock is up here at the high 40s, low 50s, and then Trump presidency comes in, chances are it's going to be beneficial like it was, again, back in 2016. And that's why I'm saying over time, you could potentially see into the 60s and the 70s, actually, for United States Steel, as crazy as that may now seem. And of course, on top of it, If a Japanese company was willing to pay 55 or potentially more, right now they would probably push for another American company to put up at least 55 or more. However, the question is, can they, does that company exist? Is that possible? And in my opinion, obviously, I don't exactly know the answer to that question. Um, but I will say the first bid came in very low at 35 a share. And I just want to double check real quick. North America, headquartered in Cleveland, Ohio, right? So that's what I mean. Cleveland Cliffs. That's why I was just double checking because I just wanted to make sure where they were based out of. But that's why, see, like this bid was like welcomed, right? These others like helped out shareholders and stock value. And this one now just kind of put it all into perspective. That's what I'm saying. So now it's like you have to try to kind of push that an American company would want to step up and step in. However, in recent news, though, to go back to Cleveland Cliffs now, since that point, Cleveland Cliffs stock has spiked. Where is it? I believe they announced a share buyback. I thought there would be an article here, unless it's just through this. Right. Okay. So obviously, okay. So this is what happens when there's one less company in the space. Obviously, sometimes you see growth in the other stocks in the same sector, but also at the same time, because they saw value in U.S. Steel, now we have more value in other steel companies as well. And you also had the CEO come out and say that he feels basically what I was saying about U.S. Steel, that the sector remains very undervalued, and the stock, given that our CLF shares are still significantly undervalued, we will now refocus our capital allocation priorities towards more aggressive share buybacks under our existing share repurchase authorization. So now they're looking to buy back more stock, Cleveland Cliffs, as opposed to buying out U.S. Steel. And that's why this whole story just is very, very interesting. And if we back all the way up, you'll see, I mean, these are highs not hit since 2011. And it's interesting because if you go at the height near those highs there, you can see you're looking at north of $70 a share. And that's why I'm saying now with these bids coming in, now it's like the world knows that U.S. Steel is worth at least $50+ a share. So in my opinion, it should maintain most of that value, even if it does spike up and down here in some short-term volatility. And that's why I also said if the regulators do not allow the acquisition to go through, citing quote-unquote a threat to national security, then again, in the short term, we could have it bounce around. However, over the longer term, I do see it climbing back into the 60s and potentially 70+. Now, of course, this was the absolute high, as you see, back in '08 before the crash, and obviously, I mean, only time will tell. But overall, again, looking at the broader picture here, I'm sure you can understand and appreciate where I'm coming from with this, stating that now the value has been seen. Now the value has been released. And this, again, just cements going back to implementing the Warren Buffett method, man. I mean, I have to give credit where credit's due, because of course it doesn't always work. Nothing always works. However, to have high conviction, spot a good company with a good product or a good service, looking at the numbers, seeing that it is almost definitively, you can say, definitively, significantly undervalued in the numbers, you see that again, yes, it is slower, it is more boring, it does not happen overnight, but you see over time that even without the bids coming in, the stock was slowly trending back upward and was going to grow over time. Now with the bids coming in, it just makes it that much more attractive, which is why, in my opinion, worst case scenario, really in my mind, the stock really shouldn't dip below like 42, 43, or whatever the highest multiple 40 plus bids were when they came in. But of course, that's just how I'm looking at it. Nothing's set in stone. Anything can happen. But now all eyes are on U.S. Steel. Now all eyes are on U.S. Steel. And now all of a sudden that the company is supposedly just not available anymore and just going to be bought out, all of a sudden now everyone sees value in U.S. Steel. And again, not to break my hand patting myself on the back, but that's basically what I was preaching back there in June of 2022. And even coming in with these update videos here, I said here it's still a buy and it's probably worth more. They're going to get into a bidding war here with multiple 40 plus bids coming in. Obviously, it wasn't in the 40s, so that's why I said it's a buy even if they take the bid at 42, 44, whatever it is. And then, of course, we have another player coming in, Japan stepping up, throwing out $55 a share. And basically, shareholders are just in wait and see mode here, waiting on those regulators. But overall, this is a massive win for U.S. Steel. And again, I'm sure some people, even back here, they might have, started doing videos on it and trying to talk about it and whatnot. But we know who's who in my line of work here. And bringing this stock to you, sub 20. And obviously the other day, $50.20 with potential for even more. And I'm going to end it there. Once again, Stocks by the Numbers. I want to thank you for stopping by. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, drop it down in the comments section. I'm usually very quick to reply. Thumbs up, algorithm, helps me get more eyes on the channel. And of course, subscribe to the channel. That is our handshake agreement. I do videos like this whenever I can. I'll do update videos. I'll do overall analysis videos on brand name stocks like Campbell's, Hershey. We look at smaller spec tech stocks as well here on this channel. And of course, I have the Discord link in the description of every video. You guys can come in. We can talk about the markets, any trades, investments, whatever. You can BS for a little bit. I don't care. But Discord link in the description of every video. And obviously, I will do all of this for you guys. All I ask, just do me one favor. Push the subscribe button. That is how you help me help you. But more importantly, moving forward, like I always say, I want to wish everyone success. I understand markets are rocky and volatile, so I really am wishing all of you the best. And look, I know this is a massive call, and people obviously are going to come out and say, hey, listen, good job, great call. I was thinking about getting in. I didn't get in, blah, blah, blah. Again, no one's ever going to go 10 out of 10. But if you notice, what you're seeing here is a little bit more consistency. And when it comes to investing and trading, if you can have consistency, you're golden. So that's it. Thanks for stopping by. Have a good day.